Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, D3 Topics Gamer, here to share a few of my official game review for the newest installment in the Assassin's Creed franchise, this one being titled Assassin's Creed Shadow. I just want to apologize in advance. This particular style of my review is going to be much more raw, so it's not going to have all the really cool voiceovers and sort of dazzled up like I normally do, but it's simply due to the fact that I'm kind of jumping between multiple different projects and I simply don't have time to just kind of script this out like I normally do. So I just felt like I would just do a standard raw review, add a couple of gameplay elements from my own recordings, and then just kind of go into detail in each of the individual departments that kind of make up this game and just share my overall thoughts on it. So if you do happen to enjoy this review by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep track of all my future movie reviews and game reviews and, ranking reviews in general. And there's any type of video that you'd like me to get up in the near future, please let me know what you would like to see in the comments down below, and I will try to get it up as soon as I can, as well as to give you a shout out. So, Assassin's Creed Shadows. At this point, I have put well over 30 hours. I have looked ahead to how the entire story plays out, and overall, I can say this. For what this game is able to pull off, I think that this is a bare minimum great Assassin's Creed game. Going into this game, I had the highest expectations. I went into this game thinking that it had the potential of actually becoming my new favorite Assassin's Creed game of all time, dethroning the current king, which is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, having played a good amount of it, I can say that, no, it didn't do that. I will say that it is currently ranked as my third favorite Assassin's Creed game, but there are a number of flaws that really hold it back. So let's just go into the individual departments. But I do think that if you do pick this up and you don't set your expectations too high and you don't try to compare it to other games, there's no question you're going to have a fun time with this game. So starting off with the story. I think that the story is just good. The problem is that for an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan, it should have been great. It really should have been great. Now, the primary story about this follows Yasuke and Naoe. Naoe is a young shinobi whose father was killed by this secret organization of individuals, and Yasuke's lord, who freed him from being a slave, was also killed by the same organization. So it's the fact that the people who they were most connected to were killed by the same group of individuals. That is the catalyst that unites Yasuke and Naoe as allies, and they pretty much go all throughout Japan just kind of hunting on these individuals and taking them out one by one. So it kind of has the same type of feeling that you would expect from like some of the newer Assassin's Creed games like Origins and Odyssey, where it's pretty much focused around these targets and you just go around trying to find them, take them out one by one, and then figure out what is this all thing about. The problem with this game in terms of its story is that it tells a very standard revenge story, in that the actual conflict of the Assassin Order and the Templar Order and the Assassin Brotherhood, is pushed so far in the background, it kind of feels like a BC plot. Like, it sounds like someone had written out a very, very basic run-of-the-mill revenge story, and then at the last minute, someone decided to add a couple of elements that have it connect to the Assassin's Creed, franchise, when it really doesn't have a strong connection to it. Now, there's been a lot of controversy with the casting or the introduction of Yasuke as a character, and I will say that I do think that the game does a pretty good job of justifying why they chose this character. His introduction allows it to connect to another area that is very prominent within the conflict of the Assassin Brotherhood taking on the Templar Order. And I do think that works pretty well. I think the dynamic between Yasuke and Naoe is very, very well balanced. They have a lot of great chemistry, and I think that the overall story works. The problem is that it's just not a strong story for the Assassin's Creed franchise. It doesn't put that conflict really in the main focus, and that's something that a lot of the more recent Assassin's Creed games have failed at. Odyssey was really more focused on developing what the Templars would grow up to be. Origins was more the beginning of the Assassin Brotherhood order, and I don't even think some things like Valhalla or Mirage did that very well at all. And that's something that we've really been lacking in the franchise for the longest time. Now again, I don't think the story is bad. I think it's a good story. It's a pretty standard revenge story. But for a game that was set in feudal Japan, and unless they do a sequel, which they haven't done a direct Assassin's Creed game sequel in a very long time, you really only get one opportunity to venture into a specific era. And they didn't necessarily drop the ball, but it just could have been so much better. Now, going into gameplay, this game is absolutely fun to play. the entire structure of the style of gameplay is separated between the two characters, and they play very, very differently. Now, when it comes to actually explorating and exploring and just kind of going on all these different missions and adventures and finding all these secrets, if you've played the last number of Assassin's Creed games, I would say even going back pretty much to, like, I'd say Origins, then you're going to have a good time. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of places to explore. There's a lot of places to see. A lot of beautiful sights. There's so much to explore. This is something that Ghost did very, very well, and it was a lot of great exploration. So in terms of the exploration aspect, it is very, very well handled. When it comes to gameplay, they play Yasuke and Naoe play very, very differently. And I think it works in terms of how you want to approach a certain situation. If you want to take a more quieter approach when it comes to taking out our target and you want to try to avoid conflicts, you go with the stealth Naoe style. Now, if you just want to go through and kill everybody, you can go with Yasuke. Now, the thing about that is that sometimes one approach is kind of somewhat better preferred. There may be some situations where you're playing as Naoe and you get caught, and now because Naoe isn't very good at taking hits, you might think that, okay, maybe I want to do this with Yasuke. And then the same thing goes in reverse with Yasuke. Sometimes I feel like I can just run into any of these bases and just start killing people, and then all of a sudden I'm getting too much attention and I need to get out of there, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's best we take a more quieter approach. And I think that the fact that the game does a very, very good way of balancing out both of these styles for different mission situations. In fact, there's even some missions that are exclusive and best preferred with one character over the other. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I think that the progression system works very, very well. Both characters have very impressive build-ups. You can change their weapons, their armor, their equipment, and each of them has unique perks that allow you to have certain advantages in certain situations, and therefore it kind of helps guide how you play through certain situations, especially in combat. I thought that was very well handled. There's also a number of special outside activities. There's ways to help kind of allow us to actually get to know the characters a little bit more. There's even elements that allow you to kind of recruit allies. There's even an element that allows you to kind of build a base, and that base actually gives you access to different advantages also. There's also a scouting system where it allows you to send out scouts to kind of look in a particular area to see if there's like a piece of interest. There's also all kinds of legendary treasure spread throughout. So in terms of exploration and gameplay, I think the game was absolutely phenomenal. And I would even say, without question, this game has, without question, the best stealth in any Assassin's Creed game. Playing as Naoe never felt better. I mean, there's a reason why ninjas are known as the masters of the silent kill. So I would say, without question, this has the best use of stealth and stealth mechanics in any Assassin's Creed game. And heck, that's a statement that I will absolutely stick with. And when it comes to the game design department, I think that it's what you would expect from Ubisoft, and it could have been better, but I think for what they presented, it worked very, very well. I think the game looks absolutely beautiful. It ran relatively smooth throughout my playthroughs. However, I did experience only one crash. I've not had any bugs, so if anyone's saying that this has like a bunch of bugs, I don't know what they're playing up. Maybe if you're playing it on PC, but I've been playing on my PlayStation 5, and it's been working just fine. And the music. I think the music is fantastic. You cannot take away the fact that Assassin's Creed consistently has always had fantastic music, and that's very much continued here. Now, there is one element of Assassin's Creed Shadows that I would like to address, and that is kind of the controversy of this game supposedly adding woke elements. Now, the problem I have with this statement is that just because the game has introduced some of these ideas that are woke, I don't think that's a reason to hate it because of the fact that it is only by choice. So if someone online says, oh, they make Yasuke homosexual or they make Naoe a lesbian, that's only if you choose that path. Now, during my playthrough, I chose to not have them have a romance at all. I just kind of want to focus on getting through the game as much as possible. So if there is a negative woke aspect of this game that you don't like, the only reason that it popped up was because you chose that. You can choose not to go down that path, and if you choose not to, then you have no reason to complain. Now, if this was forced, if this was something that they introduced and you didn't have a choice to, then I would have a problem, but that's not how this game works. This game very much gives you so much control on how you want to play through this game. If you don't like the Yasuke character, heck, you can try playing the whole game as Naoe. There's no limitation. You're going to have a lot of problems in some of the more harder missions, especially as you explore some of the areas that are a little bit more higher in level. You're definitely experiencing some problems. But again, this game is so well done at giving you the aspect of choice. And I think having that choice gives you so much more control than perhaps a lot of the prior, more recent Assassin's Creed games. And that was something that I was very, very appreciative of. So overall, I would absolutely recommend Assassin's Creed to anyone who's curious about it. And I would suggest play this play this game on your own and come up with your own decision. Now, if I had to give Assassin's Creed Shadows a score, I think the highest that I could go, even though I did get this for a collection edition, I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. There's a lot of game elements about this that I really, really enjoyed. This is a game that I will absolutely be playing for several more weeks, and even in between games that I will be purchasing in the near future, and it's definitely something I see myself coming back. And as it stands right now, as I said at the beginning, this is without question my third favorite Assassin's Creed game of all time, behind only Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So that is my review for Assassin's Creed Shadows. If you happen to play this game, I would love for you to share your thoughts and just let me know what were your thoughts on it. What did you like? What didn't you like? And what do you hope to see in future DLC that comes out in the near future? Share your thoughts with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.